House Justice Committee will tackle on September 4 the impeachment complaint against 7 justices, including newly appointed Chief Justice Teresita Leonardo de Castro. In an interview on The Source, Committee Chair Doy Leachon says the committee is expected to receive the complaint today. Meanwhile, Ifugao Representative Teddy Bagilat Jr. says de Castro should have been disqualified as she has a pending impeachment complaint. Bagilat adds de Castro's 2-month term is too short to push for judicial reform.
In our impeachment complaint, we had advocated that she should have been disqualified by the Judicial Park Council because there's a pending impeachment complaint.
As the Speaker said, it will be dealt with, we need to expedite this one, so it will be tackled, definitely it will be referred tomorrow.
Yeah, Tuesday.
At the plenary. And then it will be referred to the House Committee on Justice.
President Rodrigo Duterte fires back at his critics who said his appointment of Teresita de Castro as next Chief Justice was a reward for ousting Maria Lourdes Sereno. Duterte insists de Castro's appointment is based on the seniority tradition, and those who cannot accept it are critics who have never said anything good about him. Here's the president in his own words.
I have yet to hear those guys state something without malice. They always say the worst. People, kagaya na judge, they condemn. And they have nothing to show for their time there except to blabber their mouth. Train yan eh. Kung sino yung naunang pumasok, siya yung unang mapromote. And that would go for everybody in the I am not familiar with any of them actually. Wala akong kakilalang justice na yung personal. Truthfully, I have never talked to anyone there.
The president also spoke about his health, saying he's tired of listening to what Communist Party of the Philippines founder Joma Sison says about him. He also laughed off speculations that he's headed to Israel next week to get treatment for a serious illness.
Sa awa ng Diyos po, kaya ko pang umibig. Ay kung operahan nila ang utak ko doon, di mas maganda. Wala bang problema?
Thank you.
No, I would be going there with some of the retiring military and police officers. Marami kami. That is my gift to them for serving the country well.
After Israel, the president will head to Jordan. He said his main agenda is to check on the status of the thousands of Filipinos in the countries who are in the wake of tension between the two Arab nations.
Hey, check on our global headlines. The United Nations issuing a blistering new report about violence against the Rohingya in Myanmar. It says the country's top military general should be investigated and prosecuted for genocide, crimes against humanities, and war crimes in the Rakhine State. The report recommends the case be referred to the International Criminal Court in The Hague or for an ad hoc tribunal to be created to investigate the claims. Myanmar's military has repeatedly denied that it has deliberately attacked unharmed Rohingya. Instead, authorities insist that it only targets Rohingya militants that have launched deadly attacks on police posts. A former Vatican official is calling for Pope Francis to resign. Former Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano says the Pope knew about sexual abuse allegations against a U.S. cardinal but did nothing about it. In an explosive letter, Vigano says he told the Pope 5 years ago about the allegations against former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick. But Pope Francis is refusing to comment on the allegations, saying, quote, "I will not say a single word on this," unquote. Instead, he called on people to read the letter carefully and make their own judgment. The letter comes after a Pennsylvania grand jury found more than 1,000 minors were sexually abused by more than 300 priests over 7 decades. And China's biggest ride-hailing company, Didi Chuxing, is suspending one of its services for the second time this year after a driver was accused of raping and killing a female passenger. The company said the two senior managers have been removed from their jobs following the death in the eastern Chinese city of Wenzhou on Friday. It is the second time in 4 months that Didi's carpooling service called Hitch has been put on hold following the killing of a female passenger. And we go more in depth on these global headlines later on the program, but first, let's check on sports with Andre.
Well, Christine, end of an era in the NBA. Four-time champion Manu Ginobili announces his retirement from basketball after a 16-year NBA career, all spent with the San Antonio Spurs. Meantime, the national men's basketball team will face Japan this afternoon, not in the semifinals, but in the battle for 5th place at the Asian Games. The Philippines bowed out of medal contention after losing to the defending champion South Korea in the quarterfinals.
The House of Representatives will resume budget deliberations today after a near impasse over a new spending scheme. But the House Appropriations Committee chairman admits there's no assurance that budget cuts will be restored. More from our Joyce Ilas.
The House Appropriations Committee will go back to scrutinizing the 2019 budget on Tuesday, with lawmakers still looking to resolve an impasse over a new spending scheme. The committee had suspended hearings unless the Budget Department reverts to the multi-year funding called obligation budgeting and subsequently restores significant funding cuts, mostly on infrastructure projects. The new system, called cash budgeting system, limits spending to projects that should be began and completed in a year. Committee Chairman Carlo Nograles admits disagreements about this between lawmakers and the Budget Department remain unsettled. But talks are ongoing between the two sides. The latest is a meeting in Malacanang on Tuesday afternoon.
We'll still discuss kung ano yung mga pwedeng options or way to move forward with regard to the budget. But I'm hopeful that we'll be able to find a win-win solution. So in the meantime, we'll just conduct our budget briefings while we're trying to finalize a win-win solution for everyone.
Nograles says when his committee resumes the budget deliberations Tuesday, they will take up the cash-based budget submitted by Malacanang. Education officials are among those who will face the Appropriations Committee. Their proposed budget has a hefty cut of 70 billion pesos for the construction of new classrooms. Nograles says they will try to iron things out.
Wala pang definite commitments. Again, we're still in that phase where we're just...
Audio